here. This lecture dealing with Judas Iscariot. He loves money. And also, Jesus said, he is a thief. Of course, he became a human. His original attribute, his existence, his real being is a fallen angel, devil. Okay. After he became a human, he often had shown his identity in terms of his character and his lifestyle. There are many Satan children, even in this present time, showing very similar ways of his lifestyles and characters and so on. But let's just concentrate on the Judas characteristics here. Now, I have brought out two Bible references in dealing with this topic. John chapter 12, verses 1-9, and over there, Matthew 26, 14, 16, which is the same as Mark 14, 10, 11. So I will be explaining to you these two references. Okay, you keep that in your mind. John chapter 12 story is this. In the Bible said 6 days before the Passover. See, 6 days before the Passover. This is Passover. During the 3 years public ministries, Jesus had spent 4 Passovers. 4 Passovers. In our terms, 4 Easters. Okay. So this Passover, this is the 4th, the last Passover. After that, he died on the cross. So it's last Passover story. It's a John chapter 12 story. It was 6 days before the actual crucifixion of Jesus. That's what Passover means, okay? 6 days before. Keep that in your mind. Jesus was invited to Lazarus' house. He was invited to. In Bethany. That house was commonly, we understood, Jesus' resident place. Whenever he comes down to Jerusalem, his sleeping place, he slept in that house in Bethany all the time, because he was very familiar with the family, and also he loved the family members. Now, 6 days before his crucifixion, his Passover, he had a dinner with the family. Okay? And Martha, this elder sister, and Mary, along with Lazarus here, Martha was busy with the serving. Always, we know that story. And Mary, we are focusing on Mary here. Mary, she brought a very expensive perfume here, and poured down the perfume on Jesus' feet here, and wiped with her hair. That story, you know that story, okay? We understand at the time 12 disciples were invited as well at the dinner. Okay. Now, upon looking at that event, okay, pouring an expensive perfume on Jesus' feet and wiping with her hair stories, his other disciples did not show any response to that. But the Bible said Judas Iscariot certainly opened his mouth. Okay, Judas Iscariot, okay, opened his mouth saying this, "Sir, why the lady Mary acted like that? Okay, why she acts like that? It's better to sell the expensive perfume that will be about 1 year wage, a normal people's 1 year wage, very expensive perfume. So we sell the expensive perfume, then how about give it to the poor people?" Okay? So all of a sudden, the Judas Iscariot came up with a very, very social, gospel-oriented man. Okay? He pretending a good human, helping the poor. This is Satan's sometimes intention. Okay? Not knowing the real meaning inside. Today's so-called liberal Christians heavily focusing on social gospel, helping the poor, just helping the poor, not helping their spirituality, not helping their spiritual saving, but just the physical showing mercy and helping them and so on. That's a satanic scheme, okay, here. This way, this Judas Iscariot shows he's dishonoring Jesus, because that perfume, later Jesus said, "This perfume is for the day of my burial." Okay, pouring on the dead body of Jesus. That was a significant meaning hidden inside, okay, spiritually. Jesus addressed that. This perfume is for the day of my burial. Okay, so it's in a spiritual sense, that Mary showed high respect to the death of Jesus, upcoming event. Okay, now here Judas Iscariot he knew Jesus will die on the cross because he will be an instrument for the physical death of Jesus. Okay? So, Iscariot, okay, although he knew that perfume will be used for that body of Jesus later, but he tried to change people's mind to the social gospel, helping the poor. And this is too money wasting and so on, against the purpose of the proto-evangelion. Okay, the purpose of the against Jesus, not respecting Jesus and his death and so on. With that event, Jesus addressed here a very interesting remark on the Judas Iscariot. Okay, at that particular event right here. He said this, Jesus said this. Jesus said, Judas Iscariot is actually a thief. He is a thief. Also, he is a keeper of money bag. In John 13:29 also, he always kept the money back. And often he used the money for himself. So he was a thief. See, this shows that, we God's servants often, pastors often, misuse the God's money for his own sake. Okay? That is the act of Judas Iscariot. And he said again, at the end of this story, this perfume is for the day of my burial. So this story tells us upcoming death of Jesus Christ and teaching us Judas Iscariot was orienting toward the money-loving and cheating and stealing God's money. So he was out of 12 disciples, he was a treasurer, holding the money and taking care of the money, but he misused the public money. That's the story we can learn out of this particular, event right here. Now, 6 days before the Passover. Got it? John chapter 12 story, starting verse 1 to 9 story. Now, and the next story is a very interesting story right here. Before the few days of the Passover, not exact Passover, few days before that's 6 days, okay? But this is less than 6 days, very near to the Passover day story. Here, Matthew 26, verses 14 to 16, Mark 14, verses 10 to 11, described this story right here. Now, this is a very turning point here. Matthew wrote and Mark wrote this. Judas Iscariot had set his mind to betray Jesus. Okay? His mind now goes to that direction in order to fulfill the proto-evangelion. Genesis 3:15. Now, he went to the chief priest. It's a plural, so not only one. He went to the chief priest and proposed the chief priest. Said this, Sir, what if I deliver Jesus to you? If I deliver Jesus to you, what will you give me? What will you give me? And the high priest, those priests, they promised with Judas Iscariot that we will give you 30 pieces of silver. 30 pieces of silver. Okay? Then the money lover, Judas Iscariot, got really encouraged by the promise. And Bible said this, from that time on, from that money promise time, okay, from that time on, Judas Iscariot sought opportunity to betray Jesus. Sought means he was looking for, okay, opportunity to betray Jesus. Betray Jesus means handing over Jesus to them for killing Jesus. That betraying means not just the betraying, simple betraying, handing over Jesus for his crucifixion. So this man was seeking for money. Okay? So money-oriented so-called disciple of Jesus. See here? So in this lecture 11, focusing on money, okay, to fight against Jesus, this Judas Iscariot was very much oriented to money causing him to act against Jesus. This information teaches us. Often we Christian church leaders, okay, got tempted by money. Because of the money, leading them wrong behavior against the will of God. Following the same way of Judas Iscariot. Isn't it interesting? Okay, so I have presented you two Bible references right here in regard of money lovers and money. Because of the money, he began to seek for opportunity to betray Jesus. So money gives him such an willingness to betray Jesus. Now, I'll give you one more lesson on this person, and next week, I will give you more and more on these persons. Isn't it interesting? Yeah. May God bless you. Amen.